All right, we live.
All right. Hello, and again, Happy New Year to our viewers of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. We hope that you all are having a blessed morning as you all are tuning in along with us and getting your weekend started. We always like to begin our podcast every week by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast page, on Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, and in this case for our guest, Sammy Sals, amongst other streaming platforms. Today is January 9th, 2021, and we have seen an interesting week in the sports world and in the world in general. But we saw Derrick Henry reach 2,000 plus in rushing. Best running back in NFL should be the MVP. The Chicago Bears not take care of business, but thank the Lord for the Los Angeles Rams. But the Bears, they got in, Jamar, due to the new COVID rule. And so now they will face the New Orleans Saints. The Heisman Trophy being presented for the second time in history ever to a wide receiver. And then in the real world this past week, we saw what happened on Capitol Hill, which was a complete travesty and showed the true colors of America. And so upon this, we have a lot to cover today as we get into this wild card weekend. And so with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Jamar was good, my brother. How are you?
Doing pretty good today. How about you all?
Blessed, man. Doing well, yes. And introducing our guest for this morning, making his second grand appearance, Mr. Sammy Sals Jr. Sammy, good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning. I'm pretty good this morning.
Good. Thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate your presence, man. And with that being said, fellas, let's get right into it. So we had an interesting week, y'all. And more than just the sports world. We saw what happened on Capitol Hill this week, but we saw a complete reminder of privilege here in this country. We saw an angry mob of Trump supporters that was sent by the leader of the free world, or the so-called leader of the free world, all because he lost the election and all because we had a Jewish and a black man finish off the Senate and give the Democratic Party control of the Senate. And so we saw these events happen. It was a complete travesty. I just want you guys' thoughts this morning. And we always like to begin with our guests. So, Sammy, tell us, man, what was your thoughts on this event that occurred?
Um, I always like to preface certain things, which I realize in any situation where we're sitting at home watching what's going on the news, we don't know all the details.
Right.
But all we can do is go off what we see. And um, to me, this is just what America is in a sense. And I think
Mm,
a part of any growth is first realizing that you can't. They tell you all the time with like certain programs like Alcoholic Anonymous and things like that. The first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem,
yes,
and I
exactly,
think
sir.
our country will forever have this problem if we keep acting like this problem don't exist. I've talked to several associates of people I know in general, and their idea of solving the racism, the privilege, well, first of all, saying well, it don't really exist, but if it did exist, what we'll need to do is just um, walk together and hold hands and exist. Like when in history has not paying attention to a problem has ever solved it.
Exactly.
The thing is that a lot of things in our life in this country, anytime things make America uncomfortable, anytime we talk about racism, anytime we talk about privilege, those conversations, there's never a perfect time to talk about them. No
Never.
matter how you do it, there's never, oh, that's not the right way to do it. That's not the right way to do it. No matter what way you do it, no one wants to hear it. So
Come on, brother.
that's why you see what we see. And I saw a post by, I think, the president-elect Biden mentioned if these were African Americans, this would not have happened. Whether people thought that statement was divisive or not, the truth is the truth. We've seen what happened with the Black Lives Matters protests at the Capitol Hill. Before they got there were armed guards already waiting.
Right.
And that goes into the thing that we've been saying all these years, through the media of the years, through the movies of the years, through the statements and everything else. We are perceived as a greater threat than our counterparts. And so that just shows that when you're perceived as a greater threat, people they make sure they take all the precautions necessary. There's no way on earth that a group of Black Lives Matters would have, and people mention like Minneapolis and riots throughout June. That was not the capital.
Mm.
If those places were the capital, that would not have happened. And that's a fact that we have to first admit to ourselves and then find out how we're going to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Goodman.
Yeah, so I happened to be on lunch. I just grabbed a chicken sandwich, just happened to be scrolling on my Facebook. And then I saw the pictures of, these individuals climbing the wall and getting in offices and stealing podiums. And it looked like a movie. It looked like it was so surreal. And I'm sitting here, I can't even like fully enjoy my chicken sandwich because I'm looking at this catastrophe that's going on in our nation's capital here. And the first thing I thought of was like, yeah, that was people that looked similar to me. This would not happen. This wouldn't happen. It'd be a lot worse. It wouldn't even get this far. That was my thought. And I know a lot of other people felt the same way. So it's like, what's the common denominator in all of this, especially in the last 4 years that that we have lived in America? It's like it seems like certain groups or certain people. I'm purposely being vague on purpose. Are they are they are like I can't even think of the word right now, but influence. They are influenced to do these things in lieu of one person, and that person is just igniting the fire. He always been igniting that fire. And it's trying to put more of a wedge in this country as far as social inequality and racial and everything else, instead of like mending that bridge. It's just trying to make things worse and worse. And like Sammy said, you don't know all the facts about it. You just know what you see on TV and what the real entail about that. You can only assume right now because I feel like if you watch it on TV, they're not going to tell you the real truth or whatever. But anyway, either way, it definitely privileged one way or another. I don't care how you stir it, how you cook it, how you dice it up. If it was me, you, Sammy, and whomever was to go there, and we could have went in a peaceful way, it definitely wouldn't have resulted in just allowing people just go in and just disturbing the peace and doing this, that, and the third, breaking windows.
Yeah, they would have let them choppers loose for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care how you shake it or how you want to take it.
That was me on that wall, Jamar. Yeah. I tell y'all, bro, that was me on that wall. I would have got chopped.
Yeah. And Sammy, like the first thing I thought of, like for whatever reason, I thought of the video game, the Division, when all this was happening. Like this is the aftermath of the chaos. So yeah, that's my thoughts, man. We all know what the truth is here, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Wow. So it appears, y'all, that Donald Trump saying, "God damn it, if I gotta go, y'all gonna remember me. Like y'all gonna remember the mark that I made when I'm out this SOB." He clearly, y'all, he don't want to leave, and he is just you talk about privilege. The privilege starts with Mr. Donald Trump, rich man, billionaire, dad, real estate likely was inherited from his dad. His dad likely got what was inherited from him, from his dad, owned from generation to generation. The privilege starts with him, y'all, because if he's been so used in his life to getting exactly what he wants and he doesn't get it, he don't know how to react to that. It's literally his nature. He does not. And it is the perfect example of self-centeredness. And so if he doesn't get the privilege that he's used to, his followers are the same damn way. They're used to privilege too. And so if they're not used to getting their way in what is supposedly be their country, then you're gonna have exactly what you have. And the sad part about it, y'all, is when the people were, all in the White House taking selfies in the chair, eating popcorn, calling their cousin, saying, "Hey, I'm on Capitol Hill in Nancy Pelosi's office," doing all the shenanigans that they were doing. I read, and by the way, y'all, I'm overseas, and you literally should see what people over here are saying about the United States, laughing, laughing, saying, "Is it really that complicated?" And I tell them, yes, in the United States, y'all, it is that deep. It is that cut deep to where you literally have folks around the world laughing, and they are all saying they have an eye on us. Turkey, making fun of us, who is our enemy, the country of Turkey, saying, "Y'all better be careful out there. It's COVID going on." They literally saying this in a certain way, in other words, saying, "Y'all better be careful out there, you idiots, because you got to be careful. It's COVID still going on. What the hell are y'all doing?" Like, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, wow, would it be to where one day I might have to move from the United States because I'm afraid of the fact that I really can't be all I can be in that environment. And if you got folks, y'all, that's storming Capitol Hill, then what the hell makes you think that they not able to storm a house? They not able to storm a church? They're not able to storm whatever they desire to storm because the privilege is just there. And it reminds me, y'all, and I hate to say this, that as African Americans, we gotta really sharpen our tools. We gotta make sure we got protection. Uh, Jamar, Sammy, I'm pretty sure y'all do. You gotta make sure you're able to protect yourself in this environment. Because it is that blood thin deep. It's that blood thin deep to where literally the Trump supporters, they calling the police traitors. Like you're a traitor. What the hell are you doing? Looking out for them. You're a traitor. That goes to show you, y'all, how many cops are Trump supporters. And it goes to show you that if they're traitors, they're like, "Hey, you're getting in my psyche. Go ahead and climb up the damn wall. Go ahead." Like, I don't want to be a traitor. We're really in this together. And just like, well, some of us as African Americans, we'd be like, "You my brother, Sammy, my brother." Them white dudes do the same stuff. I don't know if people didn't know. They do the same stuff. And especially if they both have the same political views. Oh yeah, yeah, go ahead, climb up that damn wall. I can tell my boss a good story, or paint something as they always do in the name of the law, and get clean scot-free away with it. And so America, like you say, Sammy, it is what it is. Um, just got to continue to pray for that country, can pray for the country we live in, and protect yourself. Protect yourself,
Yes.
and be ready at all moments, because they will try you. They are looking to try you, and they are looking to find a way to get African Americans out of that country, especially the male. They love our women, but they want the male out of there. They want that country to be multicolored, which is mulatto and white, period, not dark.
I
And
think
it's
you made a good
very
point too.
evident. Go ahead,
The
Sammy.
the good point, because I had a conversation with an associate of ours, and Jamar, pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. But when I have serious dialogue with people who are supporters of Trump, and I ask simple questions like, and I preface it by once again just saying, like, I understand once the media dislikes somebody, they will twist everything they say. They will present things in a certain way that make them look worse.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm like, bro, some things there is no twisting. There is no, like, if you go down Trump's Twitter feed throughout the last 4 years, some of the things he said, you don't need an agenda to twist what he said. Some of the things he said on live TV, you don't need an agenda to twist it. And I ask myself, like, I can understand a person supporting conservative Republicans because that's what their family has groomed them to be. That's what their environment has groomed them to be. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. But to me, as a human being, and seeing how Donald Trump conducts himself as a human being, there is no way I can see a person vouching for his character. And I hear it all the time, like, oh, he was really a good man. He just what does he have to do to, like, if like any other celebrity, think about this. This is what really frustrates me. Any other celebrity on this planet, when a rumor comes out that they said something that's misogynistic, or I raped women, or I touched women like that, they are canceled immediately by everyone. But with Donald Trump, they keep, oh, it's locker room talk, or it's this. Like, in my mind, what does he have to do to show his true character? He's been recorded on a secret call saying, oh yeah, I knew how serious the coronavirus was back in January. It's really bad. And he's taking all his precautions behind the scenes, but he's pretending like not to wear a mask in public and telling his rally members and things like that, oh, it's not that serious, and holding rallies, putting these same people's lives in danger while knowing how bad it is behind the scenes. What else do you have? Like, what else can he do? If he does that and people don't care, it's basically political manipulation, and people just have been groomed to believe whatever they. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I can watch his interview, and sometimes he may say something not knowing how to speak well, and they'll take it and try to make it. I was like, well, okay, in this situation, he didn't really mean that. But you don't need that, how bad he's done things. In my mind is, how can you, any human being, especially when the conservative side is supposed to be more Christian related, believe in when Jesus clearly, the Bible clearly states what bad character is in a person. Well, it refers to the rich having certain biased ways toward the rich and mock the God that you like. What else do we need for this to be like, okay, well, this dude is garbage? And that's the saddest thing to me, how easily people are manipulated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I sit here, Sammy, and I think, man, what books, movies, like, will be written behind this? What social studies books will be written behind this garbage that we are currently encountering, and that we gonna have to show to our kids or our grandkids? Like, it will be just so much. And I just hope that these social studies books, y'all, that these movies or documentaries, that they just keep it real, keep it 100, not try to flake, make this certain, you know how the media do, Sammy. Because I hope and I pray that we are here to tell the real story, and that it's not flake down to our grandkids as society always do, and make this man seem like he was this or he was that. Let's just keep it real. Like you say, let's call a spade and go from there, Jamar, you're going to say something?
Yeah, but we know darn well that these books that's in these schools that tries to teach this quote unquote history is not accurate.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it took us to, we got to a certain age to realize, like, all the stuff that we was fed growing up is far from the truth on a lot of different things. I won't get into it, but we know that the books going forward is not going to paint the whole picture.
People still deny that.
The surface.
Like, people still deny that the history of America is biased and racist. Like, we have a holiday that celebrates Thanksgiving alive.
Come on, bro.
We have a Columbus Day that celebrates a person who committed genocide.
Exactly. Yes. What more evidence do we need?
What else do I need to say from there? Like,
right.
That's how you open up your night right there.
Man, I hear you, brother. I hear you, man. But wow, thank you, Sammy. Boy, you be deep. Boy, you be preaching. You just don't know it. Like, man, you be so deep. I appreciate you coming on. Folks gonna be helped. Yeah, I'm just reflecting and soaking it in. But yeah, let's get into a little fun, y'all. Which was more surprising this week? So this stuff that happened at Capitol Hill, was that more surprising, or Elon Musk. Now, we talk about what's going on in society, and I want to see what this brother do with all this darn money he got. Him surpassing Jeff Bezos at a net worth of a whopping $189 billion.
That's crazy.
Whew.
I got to get my life together.
Something.
Apparently, we ain't doing something right now.
Man. I'll go first.
Man.
I'll go first on this one. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna take the most surprising is the $189 billion guy, because what I saw a few days ago, that based on everything that I've seen in my lifetime, I'm if you would have asked me if I was surprised during that last segment, no,
Yeah.
not by any means.
I'm used to it.
But yeah, this guy here, man, if you participated or saw his vision by participating in his stocks and stuff a few months ago, you definitely feeling really good right now.
I'm telling you, man, but that's an expensive stock, boy. You got to be rich to get that one.
No, not well. No, there's some avenues that you don't have to have money to do it. I mean, you don't have to have the amount of money you may think to get some.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt Jamar's.
No, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you can help us.
So it depends on how you go about it. There's apps out there like Robinhood and Stash. I use Stash.
Okay.
I started using it years ago just to kind of get my feet in the pool to start understanding. And you can buy percentages of stock. Like you can buy like 0.001% of stock. Like if you have $15 on Stash, you can buy $15 worth of the Tesla stock. And then, it just goes up and down or whatever like that. So you don't have to. I think the shares was up like the $450 or something.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Sam, because my wife got an Acorn and y'all, it like,
yeah.
And I guess I never talked to her about it, but she only put like 50 some bucks and that thing like 500. And that was about maybe about 2 years ago. But thank you, Sammy. Now I know. Thank you.
Yeah. I did. And to me, to honest, it's not surprising to me, Tesla, because I remember a couple months ago, I kept reading a couple articles like buy Tesla stock, and I was reading those. Okay, so I just bought some, and then Tesla took a little dive, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Right.
And then Elon Musk told he was telling some people like, don't worry about it, we'll be all right, and then it shot up again. And I was like
the last several months, it's just been skyrocketing. I'm sitting here like, yeah, people are getting paid out here now.
My portfolio in general is up. Like I'm up probably like 50%. Like my profits are up like 50%. Just AMD, if y'all don't know, the people who make computer chips, that's the rival of Intel. Yeah. Since I bought it, their stock has been up 200%. Like, wow. It's just, sometimes it's just like, once you do some research, you kind of know the industry and what they're doing in the future, you can kind of jump on it while it's lower.
Right.
Sometimes it's a guessing game.
It's
an educated guessing game.
This morning, Sammy boy, this would be a whole segment.
Man, I don't know much. I just been doing like a little research. And then like the Stash app, it has an educational section. So they give you terms and you can, they define things for you and help you understand stuff. So that's good too.
Right, so where anybody can understand this thing.
Yeah, basically.
You gotta be college educated, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think anybody, like whatever it is in life that you want to do, start little. Just get moving on it. Like just if you want to because I think I started with Stash like buying like $10 worth of stock years ago, and then I started to invest more and more as I learned more, and you just go from there.
Beautiful. That's what's up, man. That is a great word of encouragement this morning. Hopefully somebody motivated to go out there and get them some stock and realize that it ain't as complicated as you think and it ain't as expensive as you think. We all can get in and we all can get a piece of this American pie. Thank you, Sammy. I appreciate that, bro.
Also, too, a quick note on what you said too, like when they're worth like $190 billion, they really don't have that money. It's basically all the things that they own. Like if he owns a certain amount of stock and is worth $100 million, if he sold it, he would have that money. But it's just more so like, all your assets is worth this right now.
It can jump up and down because a lot of it is invested into the stock market and various markets and different things.
You can't get rich by saving. You have to invest.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But yeah, y'all, I agree with y'all. I just wanted to see what y'all was gonna say. I'm definitely more surprised by this net worth of 189 billion. So yeah, if he sold it off today, Sammy, he can buy damn near majority of the world. He can feed how many third world countries? How many hoods? No
Everybody is
bills
Jason.
he can feed with 180. Now I can see y'all a million. I can even see a billion. Jay-Z had a billion, and we look at him like he rich. But this brother Elon Musk at 189 billion. That's a lot of money. He should just bless a few folks, like put a lottery out there and just say, hey, this is your day to get $1 billion. You know?
Have you ever seen
and
those what's names?
say it
Like
again,
those
Sammy.
have you ever seen those shows where they go through like people who won a lottery? The sad thing is they, according to the numbers, $1 billion is actually cursed to majority of people because the majority of people will ruin their lives with it. I was like, that is an interesting perspective.
Yeah,
Man,
a lot of money, a lot of money.
that's
Look,
a
too much
lot.
money, in other words, can't be good for you.
Probably got a
Like,
lot
Too
of pressure
much.
on you.
Too
yeah,
much, man.
too much
That's a
money,
lot of money.
but 189 billion. I don't even think he overcame the pressure, if that makes sense. Like he overcame the pressure. Like I don't think he can ever run out. Like even if his stock tumbles like crazy, he still y'all at the end of the day probably have 100 billion. You know,
He up there.
that
Definitely.
ain't so bad. You know, that ain't so bad. And
A little
so
chump change.
He doing decent. He decent.
and so yeah, y'all, we have spent a lot of time on this, but it was a man rich conversation. It's amazing, man. But yes, I wanted to just get into a little fun, y'all, as we dive into some sports. And so with that being said, let's get into some football and let's get into the national championship game. And so we got the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. And so Sammy, I know you're more of a hooping guy, but I know you watch all sports. Um, who is your pick for the national championship come this Monday night?
It's anytime I see Alabama in the national championship, it's hard for me to bet against them. I honestly hope Ohio State win. They're a Big Ten, right? They're in the Big Ten. I always want a Big
Yeah.
Ten team to win, but
Mhm.
it's hard for me to go against Alabama. Like sometimes I watch their games, it's like sometimes they're like men amongst boys.
They are like the pre-NFL.
Yeah, it's hard for me to go against them. I think they'd probably pull it out, but I will kind of hope Ohio State do.
Right, right, right. And Jamar, last week, you had the Buckeyes, right?
Yeah. And let me be clear. I know what Alabama's about. I know what they're capable of. They're just as hungry as the last team because they weren't even in the playoffs last year. So they're hungry. I get it. I just think this Justin Fields kid, he's a little different. Now I know Ohio State quarterbacks has a history of being bums in the NFL. That's just what it is. They are. But I feel like he is different. He is different from the rest. He's definitely better than Cordell Jones. Definitely better than that bum that got released by the football team, Dwayne Haskins.
You talking about Dwayne Haskins?
Yeah, that individual.
Okay.
I don't even call him a football player anymore. He's just an individual.
It's strip club right now, Jamar.
That individual.
Yeah, man, that dude's trash. Better than Troy Smith when he won the Heisman years ago.
Yeah.
Braxton Miller. Braxton Miller would have probably been on the same list as being different if had he not got injured. That's just my opinion. But Justin Fields.
Craig Kensel was a serviceable backup.
Yeah, I mean,
Close to the
he got
Bears.
paid over the years in the NFL. I mean, honestly, probably being a backup quarterback and never starting, probably one of the best jobs you can ever have. Just saying.
Right.
But no, Justin Fields to me, he's different. He has that it factor. The fact that that performance he did last week was a Deshaun Watson-esque that I saw when Deshaun Watson was at Clemson. Just the irony of that. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping and pulling for Ohio State. I'm a Big Ten supporter as well, just like the rest of you all in that sense. I know Alabama is Alabama, but I'm pulling with the underdog here on the record.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, fellas, for me, the way I look at it, I see, I hope Ohio State wins. I really do. I would like to see Justin Fields win the game. It's really y'all for me. I'm picking Ohio State, and I'm picking Ohio State, fellas, not because of just the weapons. I think Ohio State got a lot of underrated weapons, including like as example their running back, who I think is going to be a beast come next level, and that a lot of people ain't gonna want to tackle that kid. They don't want to tackle him now. I don't
No,
know
they
if
don't.
you guys remember Jamar. You see that hurdle he did against Clemson to set the tone of the game to
Yep.
let Clemson know this ain't finna just be no walk through pretty boy Trevor Lawrence. Um, and how the game really for me, Clemson and Ohio State was a battle of the quarterbacks, and whoever would had a better day would win the game. And Justin Fields completely outdoed this first round heavily goddess Trevor Lawrence. He reminds me of Christian McCaffrey. We're not going to talk about Christian McCaffrey this morning. Um, just like holiest, and Justin Fields is like, "Hey, have y'all forgot about me?" And so I know for a fact, y'all, that Justin Fields is better than Mac Jones. No disrespect to Mac Jones. I think he'll be a solid college quarterback, and most Alabama quarterbacks are trash in the NFL too. But he'll completely outdo Mac Jones. You better hope that Devontae have a great game, that Najee and those guys can be able to run the ball. Because if not, I think Ohio State can control that clock. I think they can control the game. And if Justin Fields just have his health, y'all, if he have his health, which is a big question mark, if he's healthy, then I think Ohio State can pull out the game, and you'll see Nick Saban on the sideline doing a lot of screaming, hollering, face red, angry because he's losing. We'll see.
Probably.
Possibly. So that is my little soliloquy on the national championship game. We will see. Alabama is definitely the Crimson Tide, and they win a lot. And
Man,
so
shout out
yeah.
to Vic, man. Victor Young saying Bama will win.
Ah, gotcha, Victor. Yes, we don't blame you, man, for going with the more seasoned program that's had so much success. So yeah, we'll see. All right, fellas, let's get into the NBA very quickly here. Um, just want to know, are y'all surprised by the start of the Bulls? I thought the Bulls would be 0-9 right now, but they are 4-5, and they are competing. They are like literally. I don't know if y'all seen them compete last night with the Lakers, but I was impressed. Like, are y'all surprised by the start of the Bulls? Do y'all think they actually putting that ship in the right direction? Sammy, let's start with you.
I would say something just to mess with Jamar, but my honest opinion is I think they're headed in the right direction. They look like they're playing a little more organized, a little more well polished, giving a little more heart. To me, it's just like they're more invested in winning these games than they have been in the past. I mean, it's sad to
Yeah.
say those of us who are just Chicago Bulls fans in general that our version of them being better is still 4-5, but that says a lot about how bad they've been in the past. But I do like the direction. I understand, like you ain't gonna go from being last place or missing the playoffs to being championship the next year or anything like that. In most cases, but I do believe that they're going in the right direction. I don't know. I mean, we could say it's the coaching, we could say it's the picks, but it look like they're headed in the right direction.
No, that's definitely facts. And with them, it all started. I give credit to that documentary, The Last Dance, because matter of fact, I think it all started last year. The documentary was supposed to come out in the summer, and with the pandemic happening, they pushed it to, I guess, in the spring when we was able to see it. And with the pressure of that coming out, plus how the Bulls was ran with the last regime and the culture, it was bad. And with them just hosting the All-Star game, it was a lot of pressure to get things right.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that that front office should have been gone at least a
A
decade
decade
ago,
ago.
at least.
A
And
long
so,
time ago.
right. And so with them, bringing in AK, the GM, bringing in Billy Donovan, who I felt like was the best coach at the time once he became available for us. You saw the
That
culture.
is a really good point, Billy Donovan.
It's a really you see the shift. You see that they are like happier there. They like want to play together as a team. They just want to grow and improve and like actually put the team on their back. They want to give the city something worth a product worth giving out to the fans. And so and it's crazy in these 9 games, well 10 because last night was the 10th game. Like in the first couple of games here, they played the Hawks, got blown out by 20, played the Pacers, got blown out by 19, played the Warriors, lost by 1, beat the Wizards back to back on a
Mhm.
home away split there. Lost to the Bucks by 30. It's the Bucks. I get it. They beat Dallas by 10. Beat Portland by 3. Lost to the
Mhm.
Kings by 4. Lost to the Lakers by a bucket last night. Like you
Right.
said, Brandon, this team is playing hard. And I think with between Billy Donovan, he is a great teacher and a great coach for young players and development, as we saw in Oklahoma City. As we saw, he got the best out of his players when he was at Florida.
Yep.
Back-to-back national championship. That doesn't happen often, if ever.
Mhm.
So, so with all of that, the draft pick, they trying to push defense first, trying to, get the best out of their players. You got Zach LaVine out here facilitating while getting his buckets, picking his spots at the right time. You got Kobe White out here. Um, he's not your prototypical point guard, but he's given the opportunity to be that, to be your floor general. And each game you see his progress getting better and better. The rookie, he's done well enough to where he's, given a starting opportunity and is given the bench, I guess, more scoring with Otto Porter, Bum Jr., and um, and Thaddeus Young and all them boys. And this is without marketing. We lost like 4 guys due to COVID, and these guys are still out here balling. So you starting to see, who needs to stay, who needs to go, but nevertheless, they are fighting each and every night and being competitive, and that's what we want to see as Bulls fans. We know that this year is not going to be contention or anything like that, but we definitely just want to see a team that fights and not just lay over every year that we've been seeing in the last 4 or 5 years.
Exactly, man. Y'all both said it so well. Thank you for bringing up AK. I do not know how to pronounce that name. Arturus something.
Yep, that's why I say
Um,
AK.
right. And so like he you can tell has put a new spark in this organization as well as the brother I can't forget it remember his name, but he has helped Billy Donovan, man. Shout out to Billy Donovan because he does a tremendous job of just getting the best out of his players, out of the organization, and making culture changes. The Bulls had a chance, definitely, y'all, to pull out an upset last night on the road in LA against the defending champions in LeBron James. And that was super impressive. They should have beat the Warriors. I was ticked off that they did not beat the Warriors. They should have beat
I
the Warriors.
know.
They should have won that game. Like, but that's a young team, right, fellas? That's a young team, and they're learning and developing. If they continue to play hard, like, they can have that success. Now the Bulls don't have like the big names, or they don't have like the young Clippers was with Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson and all this, but they remind me of that young squad that, like you say, they not playing little brother to nobody. And Zach Levine is on a mission definitely to not only um, get people to recognize that he's a hooper and that he's the real deal and that he can lead a franchise because he is leading this franchise right now, but also become that all-star and go to that next level. The one thing we do ask Zach Levine here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is my brother. can you please, get in the all-star dunk contest one more time? If you do so, we would just so be greatly appreciative of your wonderful athleticism, because the dunk he did last night, it was like, OMG, you
It's
need to get in the
effortless to
dunk
him.
contest.
I didn't
You
even
need
see
to
it
be
yet.
like,
I'm about to look it up. I didn't even see it.
say that again.
I didn't even see it. I'm about to look it up right now while you talk.
Oh, it was just a really simple, but it was like, ooh, how do you do that? Most people don't do that, like type of dunk. And so, yeah, man, just really freakish athleticism. Kobe White, yeah, man, that boy coming to be a stud. And Wendell Carter, Patrick Williams, I think this kid, y'all, is gonna be super special. And I'm seeing what Jamar's saying. And y'all probably know in the early morning sports talk podcast that what this brother Jamar said. That's why I call him the guru. Like, it really most times come to fruition. This man picks so many correct NFL games. Sammy, it's just like unbelievable. Like, he points out stuff way before it happens. It's just amazing. I'm just in awe to be in his presence. And so, like, yeah, the Bulls, man, this Patrick Williams kid, he defends his butt off. And he's last night defending LeBron, y'all. They put him on LeBron. They say that's your assignment right there. And that's a lot
That
for a
says something.
rookie. But that showed that the Bulls have that much confidence in Patrick Williams already. Not only did he put up a quiet 15 points, and he been averaging a quiet, 14 points a game. That's very impressive for me as a rookie, along with the fact that he rebounds, defends, and passes the ball. So the Bulls, man, yeah, I'm excited to see this team continue to compete. And I can definitely see, if the Bulls continue to tweak the roster, maybe take a few people out, but keep the core of Levine, I think, Kobe White, Wendell Carter, Patrick Williams. I say you keep Daniel Gafford, you keep Denzel Valentine because he can get hot. Marketing, it's hard for me to go against him because he can get hot. And a few other pieces. The Bulls can definitely be that team coming forward and be a legit contender in the East that at least will put pressure on those top teams coming forward, like the Brooklyn Nets or like the, you know, other teams that's looking to be pretty good right now that we know gonna be there with the superstars. But the Bulls, I
Right.
think, can be a pain in the ass going forward. And so I'm impressed, y'all. I really am. I'm loving it, man, for real. So shout out to the Bulls. And thank y'all for that tremendous analysis. Um, Curious, y'all. And maybe I'm just overreacting, but I want to talk about Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Nets, they have not had the record, and I know Spencer Dinwiddie is out. Maybe that plays a role. But the Nets are what, 5-4,
5-5.
and 5-5. They lost. Okay, they lost again, and so yeah, based off of their starts, are we really overreacting to how good this team is? Because the New York Knicks got a better record than them right
I, I
now. Yeah, go
personally
ahead,
think
Sammy.
I personally think anytime you have two stars, people automatically assume because this person is good, this person good, they're gonna be great. And I remember when this is the old school, but I remember when Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony were gonna be on the same team, and people kept saying they're gonna be in the finals. I said, trust me, just because two people on the same team that are good individually does not mean they're gonna be good together. And
Right.
sometimes people just don't gel well, and especially when you have a similar type of ball player, a person that has to have the ball in his hand or score. Sometimes it doesn't go well, but sometimes it all depends on how they gel together. So I honestly think they'll be all right. Like they'll be probably a title contender maybe this year or next year. But as far as people thinking they're gonna be championships, I don't see that. Like I think LA probably is gonna win again, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, all right, so yeah, there they are 5-5 right now. The eighth seed in the Eastern Conference, which is still shaping itself out because there's some teams around there that's probably not going to be there when it's all said and done.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, so here's the thing. I think Kevin Durant, he hasn't played in a few games because of COVID
Uh-huh.
protocols. Kyrie Irving hasn't played the last couple of games. He's questionable for Sunday, and that's just more so for personal reasons. Um, Spencer Dinwiddie's out for the whole year. That was a big blow.
Oh, he out for the year now. Oh.
Yeah, it was a partially torn ACL. He's done.
Mm.
So, I mean, the team is. I guess when they both play, they have a winning record. Right now, they're back to the scrappy Nets that we saw last year and the year before.
Right.
I mean, Karis LeVert out here balling. I mean, they lost I think they lost a close game the other night, and then they actually beat a team that on paper shouldn't have won at the time either. So regardless, this team's going to fight because that's just their nature. That's their identity. That's what we know them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Once everything gets unfolded, like they're going to be there. They're going to be in the thick of things. I mean, they already got the best player on the planet. Probably the best offensive player that you ever seen in your life. Just
So wait, time out, Sammy. Did you just catch that? Hold up, Jamar. Pump the brakes. Did you just say, and whoever's watching, Victor or Deshaun, anybody, are you stating that Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet? Because that's what you just said.
He said arguably.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was about to run and jump off the balcony. Never mind.
Don't hurt yourself, man.
That's the only reason I nodded, because he said arguably. I was okay. That's accurate.
Okay, arguably, I can argue with that. Yes, okay, I can argue that he is. Okay, gotcha.
I choose my words carefully. Choose them carefully.
Yeah,
but needless to say, no, this team, when it comes to playoffs, both of the star players are playoff performances. When you got a third option that's Karis LeVert, who can get you 30 to 40 on any given night, as he did 43 last night, you're gonna be in the thick of things. The only thing they have to figure out is how to replace the production of Spencer Dinwiddie, because that man did a lot for their team. That man was 6'5", defender, point guard, floor general, can get you about 18 to 20 a night on a given night, and with just a locker room presence as well. So you just got to find a way to find that production elsewhere, either through a trade, a free agent signing, or the buyout market. They'll figure it out. So I'm not worried about them. I mean, a lot of teams are going through the motions, and not to mention probably the biggest factor is COVID right now. Like, home court advantage is not home court advantage anymore. So
Right.
So you get these lopsided like losses and wins that we've been seeing out the gate, and I feel like it's going to be like that at least for a little while going forward. So I'm not concerned; they'll be there.
Yeah. And shout out to the Chicago Bulls for cutting Spencer Dinwiddie. I guess they didn't see nothing in him.
Hey man, that was the last regiment. Man, that was a Garpax move.
Basically, anybody in Chicago cut gonna be a superstar tomorrow.
Come on, man. Tell the truth. They go to win Super Bowls, NBA championships, All-Star games. Yeah, the Bulls cut him. They ain't see nothing in them.
You might as well go to Chicago, get cut, and you know your future's bright.
I guess so, man. Yeah, you know, they said that.
That was a Garpax move.
Yeah, it just befuddled. It just confuses me. But yeah. So in regards to this question though, fellas, yeah, like the Brooklyn Nets, I agree with y'all. I think they'll be there. There's no way that I don't think they will be there. It just depends on their health, y'all. Because with Spencer Dinwiddie being hurt, what if somebody else get hurt? We know that KD right now is a little bit limpy, y'all, because of, you know, what happened in the finals in 2018 against Toronto. Had to miss all of last year. And, you know, he's looked like he's back to form, but let's just hope that nothing Derrick Rose-ish happened. You know, like I'm not claiming, and I don't want that to happen to Kevin Durant, but I just, you know, health I think is important for the Nets, y'all. Kyrie Irving, he was hurt last year. And so who's to say that he won't get hurt? I think, y'all, if one of those superstars get hurt, then the Nets will probably be in trouble. And it'll have to just be that one superstar with the rest of the team. And I don't think that's only good enough to get the Nets to the second round, probably. If KD get hurt, the Nets are toast. But if Kyrie get hurt, then the Nets got a chance. It's just I don't know if they can make it to the finals and win it with KD. You know what I'm saying?
No, not just with KD.
Right. And so It depends with the health of the Nets, I think. But I think if they got the two guys, they got the rest of their nucleus. And like you say, Jamar, they can get somebody that can just contribute at least 10 points, maybe something like that. Scrap hard, get some extra rebounds, give KD some second chance points.
Yeah.
They'll be all right. And so, yeah, but I am a little bit surprised. 5-5. I thought the Nets would be like 7-3 or something by now, 8-2. With the roster that they got. But it's really good to point out that they got a lot of people that are missing games here and there. Maybe they doing the Kawhi Leonard thing and getting them some rest and different things, saving themselves for the playoffs. I don't know, but yeah, we really haven't had much of the sample size. It's only been 10 games, and so we'll know more as the season progresses and I think the guys will get more locked in, especially the vets on the team when the playoffs start to come around. LeBron does it every year. So yeah. But speaking of LeBron, he had a lot of great battles with the Warriors, who appear to be kind of back. And this is without Clay Thompson. I can imagine if he was there and his 60 points, he can 70 points, he can go off at any given night. Um, but his brother Steph Curry had a hell of a week, putting the clamps on Damian Lillard, 31 in the first half. Then dropped him with another 31 in the second half. And then I looked at my phone, I seen the Clippers up. I'm like, okay, the Clippers, they not playing with the Warriors. They trying to send that message. Then I looked at my phone and I woke up in the middle of the morning and I see headlines talking about the same old Clippers. And so I'm curious, y'all. After last night's 22-point collapse to the Warriors, are the Clippers the same old Clippers? Like, I seen Paul George just making so many excuses in front of the media. It was just ridiculous. Didn't want to own up to nothing. While Kawhi Leonard's basically stating to the Clippers, y'all need to get y'all stuff together. Like for real, for real. Y'all need to really get y'all stuff together. And Paul George just sitting there making excuse after excuse. And so, Sammy, with your basketball analysis, brother, like, are the Warriors just that good? Are they that team now that Draymond Green is back and defending and doing his thing? They look to be a complete team, or is just the Clippers the same old Clippers?
Man, I think it may be a little bit of both. But with this, I would like to point out how trash people are. Boy, I tell you, Steph Curry don't score 30, 40 points one game or two games. People call him a bum. People call him washed up. This just shows you how trash human beings are. Like, you can be the best person in the world for 90 years and you have one off year, one off game, and people will throw you in the trash. Like, people are basically saying he can't shoot no more. He can't dribble. Like, what? Like, people are trash. But anyway, I think to me,
making me feel real bad right now, Sammy.
bruh, I'm saying, like, when you have to, like, when you consider Michelangelo, when you consider artists, you consider their entire body of work. You don't always consider what they painted last. You know what I mean? And so we have to keep that in mind when we considering careers. Like, I won't discredit, like, it's one thing to say he's not as good as he used to be. That's obvious in most situations because they get older. But, like, bruh, he basically had the best, Steph Curry had the best record in NBA history. His 3-point percentage was higher than center's field goal percentage.
Oh, okay. You
like that
Steph.
1 year.
Right, I thought you were talking about Paul George. I was finna jump through the screen.
No. I'm saying now, Paul. No, I'm just saying, like, because of the Warriors thing, they kept calling Steph Curry garbage. But I'm saying, like, no, that's what I'm saying. But also too, like, I don't think Paul George is garbage. Like, I don't think he's garbage, but I think he is definitely not playing nowhere near his potential. And I think too, from his interviews, a lot of times, as you said, it appears that he's making excuses. And so in our minds, if you're not playing what we think is your potential and you're making excuses, we can only imagine how further you are in your workouts or in your trainings. That if you're making excuses to us, are you making excuses to yourself in your workouts, your training? Are you blaming somebody else and saying, I need to do better? You know what I mean? Because that's a that's a mindset thing. So I think too, like to be honest, I'm thoroughly surprised how the Clippers ended last year and how they're not performing. Because with these perennial defenders with Kawhi, Paul George, what's the other guy? Beverly. In my mind, nobody should be scoring on the perimeter. Like nobody should score on the perimeter based on how well you defend. But like people be getting buckets on them, and I just don't understand how.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they curse, bro.
It's something about momentum, Sammy. Like when you are down and out, especially in a league where everybody's talented, like you in that league for a reason. Those guys see that their heads are down and that they all screaming at each other. Serge Ibaka last night holding his hands up like, what is going on here? This is a travesty. Like teams see that. They're like, oh yeah, they over there dysfunction.
Oh yeah, let's get them more.
Of course, Sammy, y'all seen somebody arguing, you and Jamar. Y'all like, yeah, let's go feast on them. Like
the minute I see a team arguing, whoever the two people that's arguing, when I get the ball, I'm going at one of them because once I score on one of them, the other person gonna get into more.
Every time.
Every time.
I'm like a shark. You sound like an animal.
Yeah. Once they start arguing, they done.
Right. I hear you, man. Like, and that's how it goes. Like, if the Clippers are doing that, teams go like, okay, yeah, let's go feast on them. And what better person, y'all, than Draymond Green and Steph Curry? Y'all already know Draymond Green loves.
Yeah, you know he gonna say something.
But Steph Curry loves to get hot on people. And like, if he gets just 1 or 2 buckets, he can mess around and get 15 of them on you in a.
Dude,
and like that's exactly what happened last night. They dealt with a Reggie Miller 10 times 10. Like brother just got the cooking, and before you know it, they was up, and it happened so fast. And this is what's so scary about the Warriors. And I can just imagine when Clay come back, because he gonna be healthy when he come back. Like it can just happen so fast. I don't think that Warriors team, I don't know, maybe y'all feel, but I don't think they done with championships. If they keep that nucleus, man, like they can literally come right back and be in the thick of things for that, Larry O'Brien. Like they get hot.
They definitely can. And here's the thing, like people after they lost, so they came out the gate and got blown out when the season started. They got blown out on Christmas. They got blown out the game before against Brooklyn. Like they
were a bad team.
And I tell people it's the schedule. They play 2 good teams. What you want them to do? Right. They played Detroit, won by 10. Then the Blazers happened, and that's when Damian Lillard said what he said. And then since then, they won 3 out their last 4. And it's crazy, they saying Steph washed up, Steph this, Steph that.
Crazy.
Steph is, if don't quote me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure, matter of fact, I'm looking it up now. Steph is averaging 30.5 points a game. He's the second leading scorer in the NBA. To go along with 7 assists a game and 5 rebounds a game. But he's washed up.
Right.
The thing is, like, this is a new era for the Warriors. So between the rough schedule beginning and them just getting adjusted with the new players, you got James Wiseman, the 2nd overall pick. You brought in Kelly Oubre. You got Andrew Wiggins, who's I feel like I guess maybe starting to actually carve out a real role in the NBA. I'm not gonna get into him because he let me down. We can save another day for him.
He sound like an ex-boyfriend, don't he?
He disappointed me, but no, this team it has championship DNA on it just because their best players, their leaders have done it multiple times, 3 times. Even before KD, they got it done. They know how to get it done. You still got the same coach, still got the same GM, still got the same owner, so you got the blueprint. So people was thinking like, okay, all right, we're gonna take this year to get the new players adjusted. When Clay gets back, bam, we back in the thick of things. That's probably still the blueprint, but this team is letting you know, and Damian Lillard probably woke up Steph, and like, all right, you know what, we're gonna speed this up a little bit. I'm gonna just show you what I'm made of, type thing. So yeah, the Warriors, they gonna be around in this playoff, especially since it's 72 games instead of 82 games. So that's gonna make a big difference. And as far as the Clippers, like, look, going into this year, like my biggest thing, like, Kawhi Leonard, like I don't have nothing against Kawhi Leonard at all. Like he won in San Antonio. He put a team on his back a couple years ago and somehow won Toronto their first ever championship in their history. So I ain't got nothing against him.
Right.
I know what Patrick Beverly's about. I know his story. I know what he's about. Lou Will, besides him, getting some wings, all that stuff. I know what he's about. Montrezl Harrell, he flipped locker rooms. He went 15 feet down the hall. I get it. But my common denominator has always been and will be Pandemic P. That's it. That's where we at. Pandemic P. Paul George, where are you? You have not been the same since you broke your leg. You haven't mentally. You have not been there. You was on your way to superstardom before that happened. I know it was a travesty. Like, I don't even want to watch that video anymore. But ever since then, man, you have not been there. You haven't.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
In Paul George's game, this is just my opinion. Sometimes it appears to be, and I could be wrong, he's sometimes in it for the show. Like, a lot of times he's trying to do the nice pull-up jumpers in people's faces. Like, sometimes he don't take the easy buckets.
Bro, man, Sammy boy.
He used to.
Like, I sit there and think the same thing. Like, is he trying to showboat? Because, like, he be taking, like, just them little shots and try to put it all in your face. And they go in a lot. But then when it just matters, it goes to show that the showboat don't work when it really matters. And that showboating time and that crunch time, take the damn easy bucket.
Dude, like, for real. Like, look, Kawhi Leonard won with Pascal Siakam. You know why? Because he did his role. He did his job. He took easy buckets. He knew what he had to do in crunch time. Paul George over here river dancing and stuff, and I don't know what he's doing. Hey, come on, man. Like, Paul George is a way better talent than Pascal Siakam, even right now.
Could it be that old Melo mindset? Because I remember a lot of players saying Melo, like, even if they lost, Melo was cool if he got his 30 or 40.
I mean,
does he like, this is my character? I mean, this is the way I play. I want to play my way kind of thing. If he has that mindset, I can understand that being a problem. Instead of saying, hey, this is the system we have. This is the pieces we have. It'd be best if you are this. And if you say, I don't want to do that, then I can see that being a problem.
True. I mean, possibly. I mean, they were teammates, so maybe Melo did talk to him about that. I don't know. I'm just.
No, I mean, that's that Melo influenced him, but that same mindset kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but honestly, he, like, ever since he became alpha on his team to beta, he hasn't been the same. I mean, once he broke his leg, he was still alpha on the Pacers, but his mental became beta. Once he went to OKC, he was beta because nobody is ever alpha above Russell Westbrook. That's just what it is. And then coming now here to LA, I know, like, Kawhi has a very quiet demeanor, but he's alpha. Yeah, I know that for a fact. He's alpha. Yeah, and I kid you not, I know Kawhi Leonard's looking at this guy sometimes like, what in the bleep are you doing? He making him look bad because they mortgaged their whole future to get this guy to come along with him. That's the bottom line. And Paul George make the excuses, just like you said, like y'all said, the excuses in these press game conference. Like, nobody else is saying these things. Kawhi Leonard is like, he if he's having a bad game, he'll let you know.
Right.
Everybody else will let you know. This dude, Paul George, like, yeah, like, if it's just one thing after another.
My foot was, my shoes wasn't tied up the right way.
Like, bro, like, it was a wet spot on the floor. I couldn't get my footing right. Like, it was a breeze on this side, on the second half side of the floor, and I just couldn't get my shot down.
Somebody left the door open. It was a draft.
It was a draft coming in, man. Like, hey, he was pushing me when I was coming off the screen. I couldn't catch the ball right in my position. Like, dude, like, shut up. Just play ball, man.
I mean, we understand these things happen. We understand these things are real, but when you're a professional, you're not allotted that opportunity to make excuses, to be honest.
Exactly. And
I feel y'all for real.
I'll end it by saying this, and this is why I said a couple of weeks ago, I'd rather have Bradley Beal right now instead of Paul George. I would take Bradley Beal any day of the week right now. And as you saw, he dropped 60 the other night. He don't care. He is
Okay.
unconscious. He has amnesia. He's not worrying about no showboating or anything like that. He just wants to win. I'll take Bradley Beal at 6'3" over there, 6'8" bum who's acting like a bum because he's in the pandemic and he's lived at the pandemic peak. I'm taking Bradley Beal right now.
Yeah, man. Wow. I'm taking that one. I'm still in that one, Jamar. Um, yeah, amazing. So, yeah. Well, I mean, the Clippers, it's amazing, man. It really is. And I just hope y'all that they don't waste Kawhi Leonard's prime. He is like the third best player for me in the NBA, behind KD and LeBron. That's just me. And like I just hope they don't waste that because I want to see him really, really get into these deep battles with LeBron because that's what he went to the Clippers for. So, but Paul George, man, could be there to spoil it. But he does get up to play against LeBron. I mean, that's one person he gets up to play up against. So we'll see. Um, but anyhow, y'all, let's still cover some NBA. We got some more stuff to talk about. Um, Give me a team, y'all, from the Eastern Conference. Sam, you can start us out from the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, that's your biggest surprise this season.
Uh, Biggest surprise in the East would be New York. In my mind, they're gonna be filled with trash. So if they're not trash, I'm thoroughly surprised.
For real, for
Um,
real.
my actually on the positive note in the West, I'm really surprised at how well Phoenix is doing.
Yes, sir.
Um, I'm very surprised. Like I think they're like 6-3 now. But
Yeah,
but also too, I think this is it's kind of like a wake up call to anybody. Like all it takes, you never know what day or what moment it takes to turn your whole life around, kind of thing. Like you just never know when it's gonna come. It's just more so you do what you prepare while you can, and then when your moment comes, be prepared for it.
right. Mm-hmm. Facts, man. Jamar, who you got, brother?
All right, so my initial pick was the Knicks as well, and I think that has a lot to do with Tom Thibodeau and his culture and them actually starting to play defense here and there. But
Right.
since you picked them, I guess the other team that I was contemplating with is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mm.
5-4 right now. Shout out to DG. And them.
GG.
Um, it's crazy because they have talent on the roster, but compared to there's at least 10 teams that I know on paper that's better than them in that Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Right now they're the 7th seed. I guess there's some teams that's underachieving, and that's for sure. But I feel like probably the most underrated move that nobody talks about is probably when they traded for, believe it or not, JaVale McGee.
Right.
And reason being, he's a 3-time champion?
Yes, he is.
And so I think his locker room presence and knowing how to win and knowing what, you need to do to actually, be a successful team, a successful franchise, post LeBron, I think it's benefiting a lot for that team. So I give them definitely kudos for that one.
Right.
And then as far as the Western Conference, as bad as the Clippers playing, I can't say them. They're 6-4 right now. But one team that I'm scratching my head on, honestly, Denver. Where are you? Where are you?
That's a disappointment. I was gonna point out a disappointment too, but this is after you, brother.
All right. 3-5. They're 3-5, but their point differential is a even 117 per game.
They're losing close games.
Yes. But Jokic is having a phenomenal season. Phenomenal season. If their record was flipped around, he'd probably be leading the MVP conversation right now. I know Michael Porter Jr. has been out with I think the COVID situation as well, but between Jokic and Murray, you should be, getting things done because that Western Conference, as we said so many times, is tight. And once again, I'm gonna remind you, it's a 72-game season, not an 82-game season. So these games mean more early on.
Yeah,
so you got
Mm-hmm.
Houston is down there, and I expect them to play a lot better. They're 3-4, and that's because of all the COVID stuff that happened with their team.
Right.
Sacramento, they're a hungry team. They're 4-5. The Pelicans, I expect them to contend. They're 4-5 after losing to LaMelo and them last night. OKC,
They choked.
I didn't see the game, but I believe you. I'll check out the highlights. But even OKC is 4-4, and that's not even none of the teams I named are in the top 8.
Right.
So Denver is down there at 13th right now in position. So with all that being said, yeah, Denver is my surprise team.
Well, yeah. Yeah, for me, fellas, I would say my surprise for the East this year, and since you picked New York, which I mean, I'm very surprised. Shout out to Tom Thibodeau. Look like he drilling them hard over there. Um, the Indiana Pacers, y'all. I did not expect Indiana to be 6-2 right now. They look like a really good basketball team that know how to share the ball and get the ball out quickly and find ways. They kind of remind you of Greg Popovich and his teams, where they pass the ball, they give it to the open shooter, and they just get the best shot at all times. And I always say, man, Indiana, the Pacers are always slept on. Um, they looking like they can be a team, y'all. I think that can really fight for top positioning in the East this year. Putting it out there right now, they are legitimately looking like a team that can fight for top positioning, that 1 or 2 seed. Although Philadelphia, man, Doc Rivers changed that whole culture, change that whole culture. And I do look for Philly. Hopefully, if they don't bounce at the end of the season and Joel Embiid start getting mentally weak up here like he tend to do at times, if he can stay focused, they can definitely be a top contender and a top seed. But I'm very surprised by the Pacers, man. They 6-2 and they looking like a complete basketball team. Now, especially that they got that Sabonis kid back, who is an all-star and a very underrated, soon-to-be superstar in this league. For the West, since you mentioned Phoenix, which that is definitely my biggest surprise, but I got to go with the Warriors, y'all. Like I did not expect the Warriors to be 5-4 at this point. I did not expect Stephen Curry to. I knew, and for me, he was still the greatest point guard in the NBA. I just didn't expect his team to win. It's sort of like reminding me of like Deshaun Watson being a great player on a bad team, and that's what I thought the Warriors would be this year. But now that Draymond Green's back, they're winning, and they look like they can, as crazy as it sounds, be a contender to actually fight for top position and at least a top 5 seed in the West with just those young players. And so um, I'm shocked by the Warriors. I'm not even surprised. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they start. And so they keep it up, man. I'm gonna be even more shocked. And I think a lot of people will be shocked to see the Warriors be in the position that they in right now. I don't think nobody had them, especially after Klay Thompson got hurt,
Yeah.
being in the position that they in right now. So big surprise. I mean, tremendous surprise. And yeah, so that's for the biggest surprises this season. But Sammy, I got a question for you as well, brother. And for all the basketball fans that are out there, can you, on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, settle the debate on who is the best player in the NBA right now?
To be honest, I can't go against LeBron.
Because me and Jamar disagree.
To me, I've to a point I've gotten to a point where I don't really dislike LeBron anymore. But I have to give credit what credit is due. Is just that anytime one person can go to a franchise and they immediately become a contender for the title, they have to be one of the best. Because I can't think of anybody else in this league that has traded to a team and they're automatically a threat for a championship. Nobody. No big Greek freak, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, James Harden. None of them are NBA contenders just by that one person going to a team. But when LeBron does, they're automatically contenders, and you can't discredit that. So I think as long as LeBron is still who he is now, he's still the best person in the world, best basketball player in the world.
Mm-hmm. I stand in agreement. Jamar, you stand in agreement with us too, right?
Not by his facial expression.
No, I am. I'm gonna just take my biases aside on this one now. No, I mean, basically, like you said earlier, call a spade, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, at this very moment, at 8:24 Central Time on January 9th, 2021, I give it to LeBron James right now.
Gotcha. But it look like it can change soon. Okay.
I
All
don't think
right.
I don't think Jamar being honest. Looking at his face.
Oh no, I am.
Yeah.
I am. No, seriously, I am. I can't I can't knock it yet. I know there's people that's knocking at the door to take that spot right now. They haven't officially taken it. They had the opportunity to do so, just not yet. It might happen this year. We'll see, but I can't.
All right. Yeah. Shout out to that Luka Doncic kid in Dallas who averaging a quiet 30 points a game.
Very quiet.
Ain't
30.
nobody even talking about him. Nobody even
He
mentioning
averaging
him.
30?
Yeah.
That lets you know how quiet it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
That's
quiet.
real
If
quiet.
he ain't at 30, he's somewhere right there.
me
And
see.
so yeah,
I'll look it up.
balling out as usual. Balling out as usual. And so yeah, thanks,
27.
Sammy, for selling that. I agree with you, man. That LeBron is definitely the best player in the NBA right now. And shout out to LeBron, y'all, for just speaking up on issues and being the leader that really Michael Jordan never was. That's one thing you can say that was bad about Jordan is that he was so brutally honest as a person to where he didn't care to speak out about stuff that was going on back in that time. Maybe also because there wasn't social media, different things like that. Maybe their availability of information and such wasn't as quick, but like LeBron separates himself in the fact that he really speaks out about social issues. He's not afraid to put his life on the line and speak out the truth. People calls him out all the time, white supremacists and different things. People are white power and stuff, and he brushes it off, continues to speak the truth, and just shout out to him for stating the fact that we do live in two Americas, and I totally agree, LeBron. We definitely agree, or we definitely live in two Americas. And so not only does he do it on the court, but he do it in life, and he's just the perfect or the greatest example I really know as an athlete. That is a prime example of a father, husband, leader, in the locker room, winner, et cetera, et cetera. So, and he
I would
also,
agree too.
talking about buying the Atlantic Dream as well. And putting together a group to do that. But what were you about to say, Sammy?
Yeah, I would agree too. Like he's a good example, a role model. Like I think too, in reference to the Jordan quote or the Jordan, that when we look at the shift of society, it wasn't a thing to do back in Jordan day to stand up for issues and now, but now it's a thing where, especially when we have a voice with social media, that's a thing. Like I think the world today is holding the people we're giving our money to, as far as the athletes and entertainers, more accountable for not just showing up and putting on a show, but like, if I'm gonna support you, I want to support a person that's good inside as well. And I think that pressure we put on people, they have this cancel culture, but like in the sense that makes people step up for the right decisions sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely gotta, give Jordan the props as well. I hear you, Sammy, that, he didn't have to do that.
Right.
And it's just simple as that. He didn't have to. There's still the greatest basketball player all time, but he didn't have to. So yeah. And so thank you for selling that debate. I definitely agree that LeBron is the best player in the NBA right now. But it is going to be very, very interesting in a season or so. All right.
And
Let's
before we jump
get into the.
before
Go
before
ahead.
we jump off NBA, just throw it out there. All right, so Luka is tied for third in points per game at 27.6. Curry's one at 30.6, and Bradley Beal is at 35 a game.
Damn.
Bradley
Woo.
Beal at 35 a game.
Damn,
Bradley
really?
Beal greater than Paul George.
He like they got the greater sign.
Yep.
Man, he busting
Yeah.
35.
Matter of fact, that's one of
Wouldn't
my
that cue
favorite
Jamar
stats
that
right now.
stated that with Russell Westbrook being there that he can go off a little bit more now? Like it kind of gives him that freedom now to be able to just put the buckets in because he got somebody
Right.
that can really get him the ball.
Yeah, because there's I guess perception that Russell is like selfish and everything else with that, but in reality, it's not that at all. So if basically
And most
unlock this
players
game,
under Russ have their best seasons.
yeah. So yeah, that's going into my status right now. Bradley Beal greater than sign Paul George. So
Yeah, because like Paul George, he
The
was an
alligator mouth is
MVP
open on
candidate.
this side.
Paul George was an MVP candidate with Russell Westbrook, and then KD, of course, won a lot with Russell Westbrook, and now Bradley busting 35 points per game. It's some behind him.
Man,
Definitely some behind him.
35. I mean, it's only
Man,
10
he's
games, but
killing.
still 35.
That's a lot of points, man. Wow, man, for real, for real. 35, yeah. I don't see nobody that was doing that. 35, But yeah. Thank you for those stats, bro. I appreciate that. Let's now get into some NFL. And so just curious, me and Jamar, but maybe you can answer, Sammy. We were going to give the top 5 players in the playoffs that you would not want to face come wild card weekend. You can jump in that question, Sammy, or you can just give us an historical, which I think would be fun too, of the top 5 NFL players of all time that you wouldn't want to see in the playoffs. And I think I'm gonna jump in on both.
Uh,
But
Let me go historical first.
all right.
Historical. If I'm okay, first of all, let's be honest. You don't want to see Tom Brady in the playoffs in the Patriots. I don't like him. I mean, I don't necessarily like the Patriots in general, but to be honest, you don't want to see that team in the playoffs at all. Because they always seem to pull it out.
Right.
Whether they deflate balls or watch Spygate or whatever the way they do it, they pull it off. One person I'd be scared to see in the playoffs was Ray Lewis back in the day.
Come on, I'm glad you're going defense because I was gonna go defense with this.
Man, that Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like what's his name? Was it Aaron Brooks, the linebacker?
Derek Brooks.
Eric Brooks. That team. That man. Oh man, that team.
Ferocious defense.
Yes, that team. That defense. Because I used to play with them on the game all the time. That defense was stupid crazy. I would say even go like, I mean, but like wide receivers, they're deadly, but somebody got to get them the ball. So I don't, they only deadly if a person throwing the ball can get it to them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'll be scared to see Randy Moss if I'm a DB.
Okay,
I'm scared to see.
I was like, oh, but this is a good one, man. Between Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. That's on my list, by the way, Randy Moss.
Also, I don't know, was that you, Jamal, who posted that video the other day? Some catches by Chris Carter. Yeah. I knew he was good, but
yeah,
I've never seen those highlights. Man, and they was on the same team, bruh. That's ridiculous.
No way they should have lost to the Falcons in '98. It was crazy.
No, not at all, man.
It's a lot of games throughout history in the NFL that's very, very suspicious to me. So suspicious you can't tell me nothing. Like that pass play on the 1 yard line. No one on this earth can convince me that coach thought that was a good idea. You just can't do it. My little league coach
get a ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Okay, yeah, I don't even want to get to that. That's the year the Rams lost to the Patriots right after September 11th, and there's no way the Rams were superior in every way that year.
The greatest show on turf.
The game that year,
bruh. But I digress. But yeah, those are some of the picks that I have as far as you don't want to see.
I feel like you was reading off my list here.
Oh.
All right, so I'm gonna give 2020 for this year, and then I'm gonna give my lifetime really swift. 2020, I actually got it in order right now. All right, so number 5, Aaron Donald. I do not want to see that man. Don't want to do it. Number 4, Tom Brady. Just because normally when he's in the playoffs, he's not really in wild card weekend.
Right.
He is not. So it's kind of new to me seeing him in wild card weekend. 3, Josh Allen, because if I'm the coach right now, good luck. You might as well just get that 7:30 Matter of fact, no, get that 5 o'clock plane back home because that's about to be a wrap real quick. Russell Wilson, don't want to see him this weekend at all. And number one, I mean, come on, man. King Henry, I don't want to see Derrick Henry at all, whatsoever. And then really quick, as far as lifetime, I mean, I got Tom Brady, Randy Moss, Ray Lewis on that list. I'm even adding Derrick Henry to that list because what he's done last year, the year before, and what he's about to do today, just saying. And then I'm just,
put it out there in advance.
Yeah, they may or may not win, but he's definitely gonna give them some problems. And then I'm gonna just throw this wild card here, and I'm gonna throw an extra wild card. Eli Manning. Every time that man's in the playoffs in the wild card, they just win.
No one.
They just win. I don't know what it is. They just win. And then the piggy, I kind of just thought about this when you was talking about Tom Brady and 9/11. Adam Vinatieri. Nobody wants to see Adam Vinatieri.
I was thinking that. I was thinking a kicker. I was thinking a kicker too.
But it's so many names over the years. Like it's crazy. But go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm gonna be swift too. I wouldn't want to see Derrick Henry come to playoffs. I mean, that brother, we thought that it wouldn't even really be possible, but we was like, it's possible he can reach that 2000. Man, he trumped that 2000 like it wasn't none. Like, that just shows you how he can go off on any given week. I would not want to see this man, the bad man, Aaron Rodgers. I would not want to see him, and I would not want to see that Green Bay Packer weather where it's going to be freezing, and it's going to be cold up in Green Bay. So I'll be very, very, I feel bad for those people that got to go up there. And it might be Tampa if they take care of the football team. I wouldn't want to see Josh Allen and how hot he's playing right now. The kid is scorching. Scorching right now. And he's just showing y'all and showing the world like he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. I would want to see Mr. Donald. The man has so many just assists on sacks, y'all. You know, that's not to mention the 13 and a half he got this year, which is good. A lot for a defensive tackle. It is. I got to keep in mind, that's not an edge rusher like TJ Watt. That is a defensive tackle here. So it's just always like why he's always in a conversation for defensive player of the year. And lastly, y'all, I would not want to see, and I hate to see that they playing against each other. I'd be scared to see Lamar Jackson. Like, the boy is getting back to his MVP form. He ain't got there already. And like, I mean, man,
ever since he went to go to the locker room for such and such in that Monday night game, he's been on a tear. Whatever he did, he released it.
He had a Bugs Bunny them in the locker room.
Yeah, man.
Some micro secret stuff down the toilet. I don't know, man.
Right now, Sammy, we don't know why he went to that locker room, but we just know ever since he came out.
Another dimension or something.
Yeah. Those are the top 5 players I would want to see come later on this afternoon when the NFL playoffs start, which I'm super excited for.
What time of games?
But additionally,
first game starts at I think 12:05 Central. That's the Bills Colts game.
Yes, yeah, the Indianapolis Colts. Scary team, the Colts. Boy, I gotta talk about that later. But as far as all time, I wouldn't want to see Mr. Moss. I would not want to see Mr. Ray Lewis. I would not y'all want to see Mr. Mike Singletary in that 85 Bears defense and them knocking people to Mars and Jupiter. It's the scariest defense of all time. Ray Lewis, I mentioned him already, just knocking people's heads off, but it made me think of Mike Singletary. I would not want to see Joe Montana and that 49ers team and how great he was. And I had to put him in, Sam, because you mentioned Tom Brady, although I would have mentioned Tom Brady. And then lastly, I wouldn't want to see Mr. Lawrence Taylor coming off that edge. I wouldn't want to see him coming off that edge looking to knock people into another planet. He's the only defensive player in NFL history to win the most valuable player award. So I definitely would not want to see Mr. Lawrence Taylor coming off that edge and ending careers like he did with Mr. Joe Theismann. And he was a great quarterback. And so that's definitely my list, y'all, right now for the all-time players that I would not want to see come January, which they were all proven Super Bowl winners and won multiple rings. So yes, that is the choices for the players that we would not want to see come 2020 and all time. Um, Sammy, uh, me and Jamar will chime in on this one. Um, Jamar, I need your choice for the NFL's most valuable player, the offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, the rookie of the year, and the most improved player.
Okay. All right, I'll make this brief. Most valuable player. I mean, I'm gonna have to give it to that bad man and Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. They got the number one seed locked up. This man been on a
Yeah.
tear. I don't like saying it. Best believe my blue and orange is
I'm a
cringing
Bears
right now.
fan.
They're cringing
Yeah.
right now, but I mean it
But
is
his
what it is.
stat, if I'm not mistaken, Sammy and Jamar, he got 48 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Something like that.
Woo!
Let's see.
God, you talking about a revenge year? If I was Jordan Love, I'd just be. And if I was just the Packers organization, they pissed him off real bad.
I mean, maybe Jordan Love might have the same like impact how Aaron Rodgers did with Brett Favre sitting behind him for those years.
That's
Yep.
true.
Because
They
when
lit a
Aaron
fire.
Rodgers
Sure.
on 3 years, once he came out, it was no hiccups. He just came out on fire when he started.
Yes, for
You
sure.
are correct. 48-5.
That's
Crazy.
greatness. I can't hate his performances. I can't.
That's
Well,
crazy.
against us, I can, but other than that, no. All right, offensive player of the year. See, part of me wanted to, I give an honorable mention to Devontae Adams because he had a phenomenal year. Phenomenal year. I think he
Yes,
got
he
19,
did.
19 touchdowns on the year, if I'm not mistaken, which is
Wow.
insane. But I have to give it to King Henry. I got
Yes,
to.
I agree, man.
Uh, defensive player of the year.
That's a hard one.
That is because I like the kid in Miami with the 10 picks. I do. I also like what's his name? TJ Watt. Um, that's tough, man. I'll come back to you on that in a second. Rookie of the year is either a Justin Herbert or a Justin Jefferson. I'm a just it's tomato on this one. I'm gonna just say Justin Jefferson. They both deserve to be co-rookie of the year in my opinion. Most improved player, I'll probably give that to I can't really think anybody else at the moment. Probably Stephon Diggs because he's had a phenomenal year.
That's a great pick, brother. That was my pick. That was my pick for most improved player. He came out from the blue and arguably should be mentioned in the MVP candidate.
By far. I mean, you can also give it to Josh Allen too if you want it. So
Yep, for
between
sure.
those two, so I'm gonna say Diggs on that one. Defensive player, I mean, that's tough. You can say Aaron Donald. uh, I'll give it to the Xavier Howard guy from Miami, but I mean, you slim picking on that one. It don't matter to me on that one. But go ahead.
Right. Yeah. And Sammy, by the way, brother, you finna get right back in with us on these NFL picks shortly. But I'm gonna go with for the MVP. I gotta make a case for Derrick Henry. This award has always been just a quarterback award, Sammy, and it's not fair. Like, you know, it's always just given to the quarterback for some reason, and it's just like politics. It's crap. Like, give it to the man that you know in your heart, if he was not on that team, would not be in the position that they in. And it's hard to debate between him and Aaron Rodgers. Just because you said Aaron Rodgers, I have to give it to Derrick Henry, who was the eighth player in NFL history out of the millions of running backs that's been in the NFL to reach 2,000 yards and have three 200-yard games in one season, and almost 4 where he had 195 one game. Almost unheard of. The man carries the Titans. Their quarterback really sucks. Only thing he do well, really, y'all, is he fakes the ball to Derrick Henry. The defense go bite on him, and he can run, and that's what he can do because just he got Derrick Henry. That's a great luxury to have.
That's true.
Number two for the offensive player of the year, I would want to give that to Aaron Rodgers, but I know he gonna get MVP in my heart. I know he is, and so just out of respect for his teammate, I'm gonna give it to Devontae Adams, y'all. Although I think really in reality, A Rod get the MVP, Derrick Henry get the Offensive Player of the Year because Devontae Adams almost 1,400 receiving yards and 18 touchdowns. It's pretty
And
impressive, man.
it is. And I want to mention he missed 2.5 games this year too. Just saying.
Wow, I didn't even know that. And so, that's just to mention there. Defensive player of the year is really hard. Xavier Howard, 20 pass deflections, 10 interceptions, about 30 some tackles. That's a lot for a cornerback. Um, Balling out, man. But I got to give it to TJ Watt, y'all. His brother won the defensive player of the year 3 times. And I hate to see that now his brother's going to take the torch, but I love it too because shout out to the Watt brothers. It shows that obviously they feed off each other. And so I think with his sacks, y'all, and the amount of assists he got, as well as the fact that he scored a touchdown in a very clutch moment, I remember this year, to help them win a big game against the Titans. I'm going to give it to TJ Watt. Rookie of the year, Justin Herbert. Justin Jefferson, I mean, phenomenal, man. But Justin Herbert, he's looking to be a superstar coming in this league. 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Impressive for a rookie. Very, very well compared to Mitch Trubisky, who only has 16 touchdowns. 16. He got double Mitch Trubisky. And Mitch Trubisky played in about what, 11, 12 games? And 8 interceptions for Mitch Trubisky. So, yeah, Justin Herbert for sure, man. He's definitely looking like a superstar. Whoever get that job should be excited. And the most improved player, Stephon Diggs. And so that's our predictions, y'all. We got to go in some stuff for the awards because the NFL regular season has ended. But now, y'all, we got to get into the playoffs. We got to get into the moments of truth. And so, Jamar, Sammy, Deshaun, Victor, y'all boys are in Indiana. The Colts, they are going up against the Bills in a few hours. I said the Colts will be a dangerous team, but the Bills right now are just streaking hot. Is there any way possible that the Colts can cool off the Bills this afternoon? Sammy, let's begin with you, bro.
I think it's possible, but this is the thing I kind of like about it's kind of the thing I like and I hate about the NFL. Like in the playoffs, you don't have to be necessarily the better team. All I have to do is be better at one game.
Totally.
And I think if they can focus, do what they got to do. Like I've seen them play well offensively and defensively this year, and I think I don't whether they're going to or not. I think they'll make it close, but don't quote me on that either.
And so you're going with the Bills, but you think it'll be close. Okay, I can see that. Jamar, who you got?
All right. So, shout out to the Colts. They had a phenomenal season. That defense. I mean, that defense is elite. Phillip Rivers hasn't really cost them games here and there. He's been serviceable. They definitely got some productive weapons on the receiving core and running backs.
They do.
But I'm sorry, their time is up. They just happen to play the wrong team at the wrong time. Because Buffalo right now is the only other team, and I'm putting this on the record, the only other team that can win a Super Bowl besides that team in Kansas City. So one of these two teams are winning it all. I'm on the record saying that. So with that being said, this game may be close until like the first quarter and a half to halftime, but Josh Allen about to get it done. He's going for 3+ touchdowns today. They about to have a ball in the second half. I got hashtag Bill Mafia.
Yeah, man, and shout out to how they did the 10-5 at the time. Great defensive turnover force of Miami Dolphins, 56-26.
That was a statement.
The breaks off of them.
That was a statement game. They did that on purpose to let them boys in Kansas City know, like, we here.
For real, like, Jesus Christ. Like, a part of me was finna just say the Colts, but after you just talked, Jamar, I'm persuaded to pick the Bills. Like, I thought that this Colts team and going in that they can be super dangerous, but you're right. They ran up against the wrong team.
Look at the
Can
draw.
the Colts today, y'all, kind of get in their psyche just for a little bit and kind of make them realize or think that they're not as good as they really are? And maybe, possibly get off to some quick starts. Think about Phillip Rivers, y'all, as he is a volatile quarterback, and he can get really hot and he can get really naughty. If he can get y'all some early touchdowns, some deep bombs down to this kid, T.Y. Hilton, it could make this game very interesting. But I still think, y'all, even if they did that, the Bills got enough firepower to keep right up. And so that's the scary part here. And so after further analysis and after talking with you guys, I got to go with the Bills there.
I would like to see the Bills win, just because I'm tired of the same teams winning the championship.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be nice for Buffalo to finally get that championship after what happened. This is just, me and Jamar know what. You probably remember too, Sammy. It was the Super Bowl in 1990. It was the hot California day. The Buffalo Bills were right at the cusp of getting the Vince Lombardi trophy. Lawrence Taylor and those guys sweating, ready, knowing that they're about to lose. And a Cody Parkey moment happened. The Cody Parkey moment happened where he missed the field goal, and it was just like, but it wasn't a double doink, Sammy. That ball went way far right, and it was like almost a chip shot. And that's what hurt so bad about the Bills, and that they had 3 chances against the Redskins, four, thank you. It was the Redskins, the was it the Cowboys twice, and the Giants. All NFC East teams feasted on the Bills in those Super Bowls, and they lost the Super Bowl 4 years in a row. And so, Sammy, thank you for that wonderful point, because it'll be nice to see the Bills finally lift that off their shoulder and to get over that hump, just like Andy Reid finally got over that hump last season.
Boy, if they win, there'll be a statue of Josh Allen outside that stadium before next season.
For real. They man, because they done been through a lot as Bill fans. Yes, thank you for that point, brother. Yeah, that was a good one. The LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. For this kid, this backup for the Rams, who appear to be a nice runner, and can get out the pocket and make you really work for catching him. Do they got a chance to go up to Seattle and upset Russell Wilson? Jamal, let's begin with you. This would be an epic upset, man. If this
it would. So I don't see it happening. Could it happen? I mean, any given Sunday, right? That's the cliche. Any given Sunday. Mm-hmm. So Russell Wilson is on that short list of players I don't bet against. Right. I just don't. So I'm picking Seattle by default. But also I want to just point this out. Seattle's defense isn't as trash as it was at the beginning of the year. They're not. I think a lot to do with their health. Jamal Adams, I think he has the most sacks by a DB in one season in NFL history, if I'm not mistaken, which is insane. I mean, so the only way this game is close is the Rams defense keep them in the game, because I know that front seven can cause havoc for Russell Wilson at times. We've seen it. It's a division game, so these two teams know each other.
Right.
I still and I refuse to bet against Russell Wilson in this matchup, especially if we're looking at the backup quarterback, what's his name, Wolford.
Yeah, Wolford.
So I don't see it. I don't see it there. He's not going against Arizona and a young Kyler Murray and that crew. He's going against a seasoned veteran Russell Wilson with weapons galore.
Right.
Good luck.
Yeah.
In Seattle. Good luck.
Right. Facts. Yeah. Sam, who you got, bro?
I'm gonna make this short. Seattle. As Jamar said, it just in my spirit, it don't feel right to bet against Russell Wilson. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just and I don't care what his record is. It just don't feel right to bet against him, because I feel like at any given day he can perform. But I'm just not convinced the Los Angeles. First of all, they should have stayed. Never mind. That's a whole nother. I'm just not convinced by the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams. Ever since they let me down against the Patriots and St. Louis, nah, bro, I don't rock with them. Man.
You got a 20-year grudge?
Yeah, man, I don't rock with them, man. I don't rock with them. That was my team.
I hear y'all, man. But
man.
To comment really quickly, y'all. So Darren Bowden, he was mentioning his all-time team, y'all, be LT, Montana, Rice, Reggie White. And Victor Young stated that possibly the Colts could pull this off, but
Victor's biased though.
Right. But he's saying he's going with his boys. So he's going with he's going with the Colts today. And as far as Seattle, LA could possibly win because they do play down to their competition in Seattle. And I totally agree. I say that, bro.
That's a good point.
Literally on the same boat here. Seattle got a big thing about playing that, especially Russell Wilson. He's just true. Patient, it irritates me. I'd be like, why don't you just kill him? Why don't you just kill him?
He do be like bouncing back in that pocket like 5 seconds. Just waiting, moving around 6 seconds. Oh, dude, either run or throw the ball. Like,
right. Like, stop waiting to kill. Like Aaron Rodgers try to annihilate people. Like, do that. You know, he loves to get really hot in the second half after he figures you out the first half. Russell Wilson. And so yeah, I can't bet against Russell Wilson. Not at home. And I know it's no home field advantage, but it still kind of is. This quarterback, John Wolford, had a it wasn't a good game. Let's put it that way. The fact that they won that game was a miracle. If Kyler Murray played y'all, we wouldn't be in the playoffs, period. And so, because he was out most of the game. And so for that reason, them barely skipping past a Arizona team without their starting quarterback, and then going up to Seattle playing one of the greatest quarterbacks I think of all time, Russell Wilson. I can't pick against Russell Wilson. I gotta go with the Seahawks, just like y'all. The football team, and shout out to the rookie who stated, "I want Tom." That rookie, y'all, is a defensive end for the Washington football team, who happened to be the second overall pick and have 7 sacks this season. What is that rookie's name again, Jamar?
Chase Young.
Chase Young, Mr. Chase. He is looking to chase Tom Brady. And I think, Sammy, you know this, Victor, Darren, Jamar, that when it comes to beating Tom Brady, you got to chase him. You got to hit him. That's one of the keys to beating Tom Brady.
You got to keep him down.
Let him sit in the pocket. I don't care if you got a great secondary, great linebackers. He's going to torture you. And so one thing that the football team got is a great front line, great front four. Do they disrupt Tom Brady and pull off an epic upset today? So, Sammy, give me your pick, bro.
Yes. I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like Tom Brady. The crazy thing is, Russell Westbrook is a person that I hardly ever bet against. And I don't care how many times I lose, I will always bet against Tom Brady. Always.
Wow.
Logically, no. Seriously, I don't think they're gonna lose. But I'm gonna say yes. They can upset Tom Brady. I just hate this narrative that he receives so much credit of it. Like, nah. I think You have to hit him because I mean, well, first of all, too, there's a lot of times in history where I thought Tom Brady was going to beat the Colts or the Chargers, and they lost too. Like I was thoroughly surprised when I watched I was like, maybe. So sometimes he seems human, sometimes he don't. So I'm gonna go with the upset.
He's picking the football team.
They ugly though, the football team, boy. That's like your default name when you create a player, like create a player.
You just say the football team.
The football team, no stuff.
Oh man. I was telling one of my coworkers yesterday, this is a trap game for the Bucs. For one, the football team is at home. For two, they have a front seven, like you mentioned, Brandon, that is ferocious. Arguably the best front seven in football. Their secondary isn't bad either. So it's not out the realm of possibility that they lose this game by any means. I mean, Tom Brady in Wildcard weekend, we don't really see it. We don't. Last year, I mean, we saw it because, just a miracle play by Miami did something, and Lord and behold, they saw Derrick Henry and lost.
Right.
This game, this is a trap game. I'm saying it. I'm picking the Bucs, but I would not be surprised that this game is close. I won't. I'm not going to disrespect the football team. I know they in a disrespectful division, the worst division of all time, percentage-wise. But a healthy Alex Smith, a healthy Antonio Gibson, a healthy Terry McLaurin on offense, Logan Thomas, like they can score, they can defend. If that front seven comes to play under pressure, I mean, a lot of people's feelings going to be hurt if Tom Brady loses. But I'm taking the Bucs, but I'm just pointing all those things out.
7-9.
Yeah, they 7-9. Yep.
I hate this division thing, bro. There's no way in a team 7-9 should be in the playoffs and somebody. Okay.
Yep, that's the NFC least for you. That is the NFC least. And so the NFC least, however, y'all, it has happened with Ron Rivera, right? If you remember, Jamar, maybe you, Sammy, and our participants that's on with us, was it with Carolina that he pulled off an upset? No, it was with San Diego. San Diego went into Indianapolis, and they were 8-8, if y'all remember, in 2005 or something like that. And they pulled off an upset and beat Indianapolis. It was also, I think, with was it with Carolina? They were 8-8 or something, or 7-9. Maybe it was another team.
I know for a fact that right before they drafted Russell Wilson, Seattle was 7-9, and Beachquake happened, and they beat the Saints team that was pretty had a really good record at the time too. They beat them.
Right.
I think that was like in 2009 or something like that when they won the division with a 7-9 record.
Right. And these are all examples, y'all, of where literally like teams that you thought wasn't gonna win, and which is what we seeing with our brother today, Sammy, picking this out. Like it could very well happen. And so yeah, it happened with the Carolina Panthers. Yep. And it happened with the San Diego Chargers, which they went in and they beat the Indianapolis Colts. And so he has done this twice before, y'all. And so it's very well possible that he can pull off again something that people ain't expecting. So possibly, but I gotta go with Tom Brady and the Colts.
Bucs.
But it will be a game. I'm interested in this game. I really am. Because of that front four. And so very interesting point you point out. And he has done it twice before. If he do it again, Jamar, this will be like an epic upset. This will just be crazy. And so could it happen? Let's stay tuned. If so, the sports world gonna blow up. It is gonna blow up. So yeah. All right. On to Sunday's games. Let's start with the Bears. So the Chicago Bears at the New Orleans Saints. Jamar, I need your pick, brother. Do the Bears pull off a Rudy from the Notre Dame. Remember the kid Rudy from the movie with the Notre Dame football team?
Come on, Jamar, be honest
Man.
too.
Like
Oh man.
this happened.
Man. So funny thing is, there's another coworker, and that's a diehard Saints fan, and I was giving her crap this whole week. But all right, so one thing I will say, they got the spread at 10, which I feel like is really disrespectful to the Bears, because by how the Bears are playing lately, that's ridiculous. They'll definitely cover that. But as far as the game itself, oh man, I'm picking New Orleans, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose that game. You know what I'm saying? Because Drew Brees still isn't looking like Drew Brees. Even though they're at New Orleans, there's no fans, so you don't have that electrifying atmosphere. Michael Thomas is back off of IR. I know Kamara's doing well, but I don't know. I just know the last time we played him, we took him to overtime with Nick Foles, who was running for his life the whole time in a game that we should have won to begin with. So just saying, we are looking a lot better as a team than then. And don't get it twisted. We played Green Bay, which we played a solid 3 quarters against, but Green Bay is on another level. I'm just saying, Drew Brees back in week 5 and whenever we played him, it's not the same Drew Brees that's looking like right now. I'm picking the Saints, but our Bears got a chance. They got a legitimate chance.
Yeah, and they legitimately a 9-7 team if you just you didn't get that choke job with Detroit. And so Sammy, who you got, bro?
I'm gonna go Saints. I can't listen to my friend Jamar whenever he refers to Chicago teams because I've had to tell him several things about his teams throughout the years, and he don't listen to me because he loves his team so much, which I understand. But no, honestly, I think the Saints will win. But I'm kind of in agreement with him that I could see them choking and the Bears pulling it out. Honestly.
Yes, and I'm agreeing with both of you because I said the one team I think that you would want to play in the playoffs in the NFC would be the New Orleans Saints. Just because of the fact that Drew Brees, his age, you can get to him pretty quickly. And they just got a tendency to fall short. And the Bears are playing better football. You talk about like a team going, we talk about this with the playoff show, the team that generally goes in playing the best. And got certain things that can tick off the other team, got a chance to pull off something. And the Bears, y'all, I think they do got a legit chance to. We look up, and I literally could be baking a piece, and I wouldn't be surprised if I turn on the game tomorrow and it's the second quarter and the Bears are up 14-3. Have y'all ever happened to that? Has it ever happened to y'all before? Like, go grab a pizza, you go do something, you run to the store, I'm finna go watch this playoff game, and then the road team's up 14-3, and you like, what the hell?
Like what happened?
This could very well be the scenario tomorrow. And so do I think the Bears win? I'm picking the Bears, y'all. I'm picking the Bears to win this game tomorrow because I'm a diehard Bears fan, because of the choke jobs of the Saints, and because I think tomorrow the defensive end Khalil Mack will have the game of his life tomorrow, and he will be all over Drew Brees.
I hope you're right.
I'm super optimistic. I'm going out on a super limb here, but I think the Bears, y'all, will pull out an epic upset, and it would just remind us of that movie, Any Given Sunday. Y'all remember Any Given Sunday where they pulled off that upset? They kicked that field goal to win the game, and then the team ran all on the field, and the owners were going crazy. And Lawrence Taylor was like, "I'm worth $1 million." I don't know if y'all remember that song. Any Given Sunday.
I haven't seen it in a while, but it's a classic.
I think Khalil Mack will be saying that tomorrow, y'all, after he get that incentive-laden bonus tomorrow for winning that playoff game. So I'm going with the Bears. A good one, y'all. The Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. So, Sammy, who you got between the Ravens and the Titans?
The Titans look good to me, to be honest. They look solid. They look good. I'm gonna go with the Titans. I think they're playing all around good football. I don't see the Ravens upsetting them. Yeah, I'm gonna go Titans. I'm final answer. I'm gonna go Titans.
Okay. For me, Lamar Jackson, man, coming into Tennessee. I think you know, Sammy, he's been playing great football like for the last, 6, 7 weeks. And he looked like he gotten back in his MVP Derrick Rose form. Like he's back in his form now. And since he's back in his form, they done won 6 straight games. And had to win every single game. That's how lit the AFC is in order to even get to this point. And so I'm like, he's thinking at this point, bro, like, do I really want to come this far just to lose? The Titans and Derrick Henry, they've had a great year, bro. But one thing I'm gonna educate you on, Sammy, is that the Titans defense has not been great this year.
Mm-hmm.
And although Derrick Henry is the leading rusher, the Baltimore Ravens has the leading rush offense behind Cleveland in the NFL. They are above Cleveland, low key. And so with that being said, like the Ravens are playing their best football at the right time. And you know what, bro? I think going into this game that they'll continue that mojo, that hot streak of things, and that they'll just keep getting hot. And so in this case, I got the Ravens pulling off not an upset. I think people are expecting them to win. At least some people are. So I got the Ravens in this one. Jamar, who you got, bro?
This is probably one of the toughest games of the whole weekend. It's gonna be a close one.
Is.
Like I said earlier, Derrick Henry is gonna do Derrick Henry things. I just really feel that way, just based on what he's done lately and what he's done in his past against this team. The only difference is there's no Earl Thomas for him to run away from.
Right.
But look, Lamar Jackson cannot afford to lose this game. He can't. He's been on a tear since that locker room break, as we discussed earlier. I think the Ravens get it done, man. I do. I think they get it done. I think, learning from mistakes, learning from losses, learning from big game moments. I think he gets it done this time around. I really believe so. They're playing really well. That running game is superior right now. The way that they do it, the misdirection, the play action, the whole spread, and even their defense is playing solid. And they got arguably one of the best kickers of all time. So if it comes down to it, he's money in the bank. So I got Baltimore.
Yeah, that's facts, man. That's facts. Yeah. Max Kellerman compared Lamar Jackson to the young Tom Brady yesterday, and he stated that if the Ravens can get just close enough in the game, y'all, that just let Justin Tucker take them home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I hear you. All right, y'all. The last pick for today. Jamar, you can go ahead and you can finish this out. The Browns at Pittsburgh. What's up, Deshaun? How you doing, man?
Whew, this is tough. And what makes this game probably even tougher is the fact that Kevin Stefanski is not going to be there because of COVID. Yeah. And I feel like he has a major impact on the play calling and how the offense is run, and probably Baker's confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That is tough. That is tough. You know what? Just this one time. Hashtag here we go. Hashtag stairway to 7. Hashtag steel curtain. Hashtag Pittsburgh Steelers.
I got you, man. I got you. Sam, I'm gonna make a real quick pick here. I think, the fact that the Browns don't have a coaching staff and that they special teams assistant coach will be the head coach. Man, I think that's gonna hurt them severely. The Steelers around this time of year, It's something about Mike Tomlin and his motivation of being a leader amongst men. Y'all know what I'm talking about? He gonna have his guys come out and they gonna raise hell. Like that's what he does with his team. He gonna raise bloody hell. And I think the Steelers gonna come out to send a legit message that we weren't 11-0 for no reason. So I'm gonna go hashtag Steel Curtain, hashtag Steeler Nation for this week. Yes, go Steelers. Sammy, who you got, brother?
I got Pittsburgh. I think, man, regardless of what people think, you don't go 11-0 for no reason. And also, people don't understand the pressure of being undefeated either. So I think that little slip they had, they was like what 1-4 their last 5 games or something like that.
Yep.
I think they get their mind right and get it done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, with that being said, that concludes our picks, fellas, for this week. Thank you, Sammy, man, for coming on with us, brother. We truly appreciate your presence, your analysis, your preaching, your teaching, all that. Your presence is definitely a blessing, man, and it's appreciated, bro. We hope to have you on again and again. But what we do, man, before we usually leave every weekend is we do final thoughts and shout outs. And so, since you are our guest, brother, can you give us any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend?
Uh, yes. First of all, don't disrespect Steph Curry. All right, no matter who you are out there. Well, first of all, don't disrespect. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself because I always get on Carmelo Anthony and a couple other people. But like, man, people have shown you how well they can be consistently. They may have an off day, off year, whatever, but respect their game, their craft. Like people aren't professionals for no reason. Even let's even give the benefit of the doubt to playoff P. I honestly believe eventually he'll get it together. It may take him a year, it may take him 6 months, but I think he'll get back to what he's supposed to be. But I think first of all, I think we can all agree that we're just grateful we're seeing sports again. It's not normal again, but just to know that I don't have any work to do today and there's a football game on, that feels good to me. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it may
sir,
be it may be wild card. So what? But I think what we should do based on last year is just appreciate what we have, appreciate the games that we're able to watch, and let's just enjoy it. My wife do a thing that's called mindfulness, which means being present in whatever you are right now, like actually taking in and being present. And I think we should just enjoy this playoffs, enjoy this time because it could have been a lot different. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. And that's about it.
Thank you, man. Thank you for that reminder. Yes, I am now. I'm very, very grateful, man. I've always been grateful. But thank you for that reminder. Appreciate that, bro. Jamar, any final thoughts, man?
Yeah. So I know Sammy said maybe Paul George might no, we're gonna disrespect Paul George right now. That's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. Pandemic P, that's your name. That's what you've been doing. With all the excuses, you don't make it any better. All right, but no, seriously, shout out to the Ball family, Ball brothers. I know, LeVar and his kids been under, I ain't gonna say scrutiny, but they definitely been having like a negative like narrative, and he got 2 boys in the league right now that just went against each other last night, and I know that's gonna be a lifetime of memories for them, especially at family events, just to talk about those. Like we went against each other toe to toe in the NBA. Like it's like what, like not even 1% of people can even say that. So shout out to them. I don't care what they say about LeVar or whatnot, but he's done a great job with his kids.
Yes, I just want to put this out there. LaMelo Ball may be my favorite player in the coming year. Like the way he plays ball, he may be my favorite player for a long time.
Yeah, man, I love the way he played the game. Man, he make it just flow smoothly. Like it is like poetry. It's so beautiful to see. It's like a Steph Curry is. Like it is just beautiful to see. And he actually showed his brother up last night. He outplayed Lonzo Ball. He almost had a triple double, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And this is a rookie. Could this kid come out Rookie of the Year? This is a serious question here. He's looking like it's possible. And he's looking like that whole franchise, y'all, can just changed and got rejuvenated. There's something different about the Hornets now, like for real.
The the only thing they need to do is get rid of that crowded backcourt. I know Devontae Graham was a baller, Terry Rozier's a baller, but one or both got to go just so he can blossom. That's my only knock against that franchise right now in his situation.
Right.
But
Interesting point for real. Yeah. I would just say, y'all, um, and by the way, shout out to my wife. Today, y'all, is our 5th year of marriage. We've been married 5 years. So thank y'all. I appreciate it. Thanks, fellas. And so, we're gonna have a great time today, just enjoying the married life. It's a blessing, man. I got a good wife, and they say when you know you got you a good one, you know it. And I got me a good one. And so she's been by my side through the thick and thin. So I appreciate her. And other than that, I'm excited, like you say, Sammy, to just enjoy the sports and different things. I will be out doing activities, but I will be tuning in to the wild card games and different things through an app called Sling. It's a Sling app that you watch TV on your phone. And so I'm gonna be tuning in that way. Um, at the same time, still giving full attention to my wife, especially on our anniversary. so
or else.
You're like, yeah, what'd you say, babe?
and so yeah, fellas. I'm grateful to just be able to make it to 2021, watch all the events unfold and different things, and just be in the presence of you both, man. So thank you, fellas, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in with us today on January 9th, 2021. And that concludes the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast for this weekend. May you all have a blessed and productive and great weekend. Peace.
All right. Later.
All right, Sammy. Peace.
All right. Later. Thanks, y'all.
Yes.
Daddy,
Mhm.
remember